ordinary general meeting on the 24th of April 2024. I'll ask Councillor Fitzgerald if he will make the acknowledgement of them.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. May I first acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we meet on today. I humbly pay my respects to the people of the Wiradjuri and Ngunnawal nations, their past, present and emerging elders.
Thank you. A bit of housekeeping. If you're asked to evacuate, the emergency procedure is to exit via the door leading out of the building directly outside the council chambers and proceed to the footpath opposite the council chambers and await further instructions. Live streaming, recording and publishing of council meetings. This council meeting is being streamed live, recorded and published in accordance with council's live streaming in council meetings policy. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image and comments will form part of the live streaming. The chair and or the general manager have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of the debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and or unacceptable behaviour and or comments. We have nobody speaking today. In that case, I'll ask Councillor Foreman to make a statement of ethical obligations.
Councillors are reminded that they will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of Hilltops local government area and the Hilltops Council, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment, as per their oath or affirmation of office made under section 223A of the Local Government Act 1993.
Thank you, Councillor Foreman. Today, we don't have any apologies, but we do have applications to attend by digital means by Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Steadman. They'll have a mover. Thank you, Councillor Dodd. Seconded, Councillor Piper. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. I'd also like to say that after discussion with Councillor Steadmiller, the issue has been resolved. And now I'd like everybody please to stand for sympathy.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, just a point of order.
We're standing for sympathy.
Clarification, please, Madam Mayor, on a matter. So Councillor Steadmiller has apologised.
I'm happy that Councillor Steadmiller and I have reached agreement.
Madam Mayor, that wasn't my question. My question is, after banning a councillor for 3 meetings and the 25-minute reckoning last week of the code of meeting practice and bringing gender into it and how offensive it was, I find this incredulous that you would be saying now, come back to our meeting. I don't know whether you should be putting this to a vote today. The councillors that you used to vote Councillor Steadmiller out in the first place. My question is, has Councillor Steadmiller apologised?
Councillor Steadmiller and I have reached an agreement.
Councillor Steadmiller, have you apologised?
Thank you, Councillor Ingram.
No,
the matters finished and we are moving
Madam
on.
Mayor, you owe the council,
like
you owe the council and the community,
expressions.
you owe the council and the community an explanation for your actions.
I have just said that
you've just changed your mind in the flip of a minute.
Steadmiller and I have had a discussion.
So I take that Councillor Steadmiller has not apologised.
Resolved the issue.
I'm sorry, Councillor. Councillor Steadmiller has not apologised.
I'm standing as well.
You can stand on the chair, Madam Mayor. Councillor Steadmiller has not apologised. You owe it to this chamber and to the community to put it back to the vote or explain why you've accepted him back in without an apology.
Councillor Steadmiller.
I cannot believe our community can be treated this way.
Everybody stands, please. For sympathy.
You are a disgrace.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being outstanding for a minute silence to express our sympathy on the passing of Judith Malloy, Christina Penton, Ross Wolverine, Doreen Gregory, Rodney Dole, Alma Ross, Deborah Lincoln, and Willa Chichinilla.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move a motion of dissent on yourself under clause 15.11 of the Code of Meeting Practice and under the Code of Conduct Maintaining of Integrity in Local Government Act and the Code 9.1, 9.2 BDE and 9.15. Fifteen point 11 reads, says or does anything that is inconsistent with maintaining order at the meeting or is likely to bring the council or committee into disrepute. If what the mayor has just done there alone has not brought this council room and the councillors who voted to expel a councillor from 3 meetings, 2 of which where we handled the general manager's contract, is unbelievable, unfathomable, and I'm struggling to maintain the level of integrity that I need to maintain. If you go to page 42 of the Code of Conduct Maintaining the Integrity of Council, you will find a number of lines there that the mayor has breached. The initial one and the worst one is the fact that she brought Councillor Stadmiller's name into disrepute by calling him out, unjustly accusing him of being a bully and be sexist because she mentioned the word gender. Disruptive? Councillor Stadmiller most certainly was disruptive. There's no one's ever disagreed with that. As for the rest of the statements that the mayor has made in regard to that matter, and only 4 very short weeks ago, when I tried to have this matter resolved, declared that it was so bad and quoted the local government legislation and asked councillors again to vote him out today, and has been now put beyond any doubt that Councillor Stadmiller hasn't apologised. The mayor on her own wicket says he can enter our meetings again. Now, I haven't got a problem with that because I don't think he should have been thrown out in the first place. What myself, other councillors in this room, especially councillors like the Deputy Mayor who supported the mayor so strongly in regard to this matter, now seem to have gone quiet on it. I don't know what's changed in Madam Mayor's head, but obviously the same thing must have changed in the 5 councillors who are voting with her. Or would those councillors like to speak in regards to that matter? Because this is clearly breach of the integrity of our council chamber, Madam Mayor, and you owe an apology to your fellow councillors and to the community.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor England has the right to Councillor can without noticing to dissent or a question of order, which he has done so. Only the mover of the motion to dissent and the chair's person can speak to the motion.
Okay, so the mover has spoken. Now I can stop. I ask the council to consider, as part of the council code of conduct and also code of meeting practice, Councillor Stadmiller apologise for his personal attack on the mayor and also for undermining the position of the mayor. Councillor Stadmiller chose not to. That disorder, as a result, I asked for a vote. The vote was to expel him. On advice that I received, I was well within my rights to ask at the following meetings that Councillor Stadmiller not go forward. Once again, I asked for council to vote. And they did so. I don't believe that there's anything to say that I have to ask for a vote for Councillor Stedmiller to be actually back in the meeting. I will say what I have in a meeting with Councillor Stedmiller. We have met, and Councillor Stedmiller, I am happy Councillor Stedmiller will be back in the meeting. All right. I'll put it right.
I have a right to reply, thank you. I have a right to reply. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I'm sorry, Councillor Ingram, sorry.
Check it.
The mover of the motion does not have a right of reply under 15.
Put it to vote.
I think I do have a right to reply. I move the motion.
No, this is
Not on a motion of dissent. Sorry, Councillor.
Word.
Okay.
I'll have my say about it a little bit later then. I can't say it now, but it will be set in this chamber tonight. I can guarantee you all.
Thank you, Councillor. Those in favour?
The council can remove the motion of dissent, thanks, Madam Mayor. Councillor, you don't have the right of reply.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ingram. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll just wait for this to be up. All right.
Is that
Against the ruling of Councillor Stanton being removed? No.
for the words that you
I'm sorry, Madam, we can't be privy to the conversation that you have with
Councillor Samuel and I had a conversation.
Councillor Stadmiller most definitely didn't apologise.
we have a question there from Councillor Armstrong. It's on the screen.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, just a quick question in regard to the lack of apology. The discussions that you've had with Councillor Stadmiller are obviously private discussions. So given that council at the time voted to exclude him, when will council be apprised of those private discussions?
I'm sorry, Councillor, going by the code of meeting practice, I don't want to put myself in this position, but I have to read the code of meeting practice. The only people who can speak to the motion is Councillor.
It wasn't speaking to the motion, it was a question of the Mayor.
You can rule on whether that's a question or
I don't think that's a question to be answered at this time. I will repeat what I said. Councillor Stadmiller and I have had a discussion, and I'm happy for Councillor Stadmiller to be with us tonight.
Question to the Mayor.
Made public in the council chamber. For councillors, Madam Mayor, that was your request. You can come back. Was that what it was? Madam Mayor, it just gets worse.
We'll put it to the vote, please. And I'll read it through. Councillor Ingram moved the motion of dissent against the ruling of the Mayor, allowing Councillor Stadmiller back into the council meeting by Madam Mayor. Those in favour?
Point of clarification, please.
I believe the donation's being put now. I'm sorry, Councillor Stone.
All right. Those against? All right. The motion's on.
Madam Mayor, I can barely hear anything that's going on there.
Is that better?
It is. I don't know if everyone's using their microphones at the right time. I'm hearing about 20% of a possible 80%, I think. Possible 100%, sorry.
All right. We'll see what we can do for you, Councillor Stedmiller.
Is that now clearer, Councillor Stadmiller?
Yep, that's better.
Thank you. Okay, so I just ask councillors when they speak, just to speak clearly and to the microphone.
Thank you, Councillor.
And when the screen went small, I couldn't tell what was going on. I saw something flash up on there about a motion, then it disappeared. So I've just missed that whole vote. So if everyone could just use their microphones.
Yes, and if we speak clearly, is that better?
That's better.
Okay.
This is the previous motion.
All right. All right, let's go to 6/1/2469, confirmation of minutes, Hilltops Council ordinary meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Hewson. Those in favour? On the minutes. Last minutes. Okay. Councillor Hubble doesn't move.
To vote on the
Still
councillor.
vote.
We'll check the vote.
Okay. Thank you. Pass. Unanimous. No. Okay, the next one we have disclosures of interest.
I'd like to disclose a non-pecuniary interest in item 12.A, specifically DA 2023/0193, development application. I have family connection with that. Thank you.
Thank you. If we move now on page 27, tonight we do have a mayoral minute. It is in front of you, and it's in regard to cost shifting onto local government. We have received a request from local government New South Wales to support them in the findings of their cost shifting report. And the recommendation is there that we receive and note the findings. We will place a copy of the report on Council's website, and also that as a council we will write to the Premier, the New South Wales Treasurer and the New South Wales Minister for Local Government, seeking that they urgently address these costs through a combination of regulatory reform, budgetary provision and appropriate funding. I think we're all aware of the cost shifting and the costs to council, and that makes the cost to our community. So I ask for your support in this mayoral minute. I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor.
Seeing that, Matt, I just don't mind making a comment there. It would be handy if there was, I fully support the community actually being able
Matters
to
being
read.
dealt with.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'll just ask for a hard copy to be posted on display for the public.
Thank you. All right. Number 9, 9/1/24/27. You can see the mayoral report. The only one that I forgot was today, where we had a lovely ceremony, a citizenship ceremony, where we welcomed 6 new citizens to our beautiful Hilltops region and also to Australia. We'll move on to, yes, pardon me, I need a mover. Thanks. Councillor Dodd, and a seconder. Councillor Foreman, those in favour? Okay. Nobody against, I take it? Councillor Armstrong?
Sorry, Madam Mayor, I was in favour.
That's all right. Okay. We'll move on to 10.1, councillor reports. Councillor Armstrong, have you anything to add to your report?
only many meetings with doctors and nurses in the ICU at Wagga. That's about all.
Yes.
Too many.
And we travel with you. And we thank you for making the effort to be with us tonight. We do appreciate that.
Madam Mayor, if I could, I'd just like to remind the community of the fantastic work that's done at Young District Hospital, for the tireless effort of the doctors and the nurses, all the staff. They are indeed a true credit to the community and an incredibly valuable resource. The work that they do is absolutely top notch.
Yes, I agree with Councillor Ingram. Well said. And thank you, Councillor Armstrong. We'll stay on Zoom. Councillor Stadmiller. Can you hear us, Councillor Stadmiller?
You're on mute, Councillor Stadmiller.
Pardon me, my apologies. Just meetings as minuted, Madam Mayor. The usual dozen or so inquiries from residents around the area regarding different things that I try and attend to or bring to the General Manager's attention. And I just have a community recognition scheme item there I'd like to do later. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ingram, we'll go around the table. Councillor Ingram.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Meetings as minuted. I also attended a round table of Goldenfields in Temora on the 11th at the invite of the chairperson of that organisation. I appreciate it, and was once again explained to the workings of Goldenfields and how they go about their operation. It's worthwhile listening to how Goldenfields have invested in their staff and expertise. And they tend to do the large, if not all, the majority of their works internally, which results in a couple of things. Works get done on time and under budget. It's a credit to the organisation. Any local government organisations will take the lead. This particular last week, I've received never-ending number of phone calls from community members expressing their concerns in regards to a councillor column written by the Mayor last week. I personally found it to be disrespectful and offensive, as did many of our community. To attempt to draw comparisons between the most recent tragic events in Sydney and the catastrophic trouble in the Gaza to her expelling a council from council meetings because it was disruptive is very, very disturbing. And I wish to personally offer my condolences and thoughts to all those families that were affected, and push myself as far away as I can from the Mayor's comments in her column. The General Manager may need to proofread some columns before they go out so he can offer some advice on the content. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ingram. I'd just like to say that I have received a number of phone calls and emails in support of the words where I was looking to say that it's important for all of us to follow the codes of conduct in any area of life that we have. So
47 phone calls and 105 comments.
We take it that everybody has their own point of view, and in our columns, that's what we have all as councillors.
To compare what happened in Sydney.
Different times. Thank you, Councillor Ingram. We will move on that.
You don't want to debate with me?
Thank you, Councillor Ingram.
Or the
We're
community?
moving on.
Thank you.
All right, Councillor Ford.
I did not attend the YDFRG meeting as it's postponed. The Young Domestic Violence Reference Group. I didn't, and there might have things that are going on. There's one that is a well-needed committee, but anyway, that's another story for another day. And we think that will move forwards also. That's postponed, and I did attend the citizenship ceremony this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pullman. Councillor Fitzgerald.
The meetings as minuted. Thank you.
Councillor Mackie. Councillor Mackie. Thank you. Councillor Pullman.
Meetings as minuted, 3 constituent meetings, and like Councillor Ingram, I have numerous objections to Councillor Collins.
Councillor Kingston.
Yeah.
Councillor Piper.
My IT girl got the information in late, and I believe it's going to come up on the screen. Thank you. I had a couple of meetings again, the Golden Fields meeting, and then I had a call from a constituent who was very disturbed about the so-called redistribution of floodplains in BOOROWA. And since then, I've had about 20 calls from people. This particular First Lady was on the local Channel 7 News, claiming that the flood areas have been changed by council, which apparently I've investigated and they have not. But people were worried about that, and we had quite a few number of platforms. Thank you.
Councillor Piper and Councillor Dodd.
I think that.
Separate.
Oh, everybody, Councillor.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I've heard nothing since Councillor Piper. I don't know whether the volume needs to be turned up or not, but I certainly haven't touched anything on the iPad.
Okay. We might see if we can get IT. Yes, we're just going to see if we can get IT come and see what they can do.
Thank you.
All right, I'll put it to the vote again. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. All right, we'll move to 11, and that's the community recognition scheme. Okay. Councillor Stadmiller, you have somebody, and I know Councillor Piper has too. Councillor Stadmiller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This gentleman recently passed away. He was quite an age, World War II veteran from Jugiong and a member of the Gundagai RSL sub-branch. Spent a number of years in the armed forces, so if we could just indulge here, I'd like to tell his story and make sure that his family get a community recognition scheme letter in recognition of his contribution to Jugiong, which is in the Hilltops council area, and his recognition for being in the armed forces. So it's about a gentleman called Alan Sharp. Alan was the Gundagai RSL sub-branch's oldest and last World War II veteran member, with the passing of Mr. Alan Sharp at his home, Ellerslie, Jugiong. He was attended by his loving family, wife June and children Judy, Peter, Tanya, and joined daughter Leanne, who passed in 2019. Alan turned 100 on the 16th of February. He joined the Royal Australian Navy, RAN, on 3rd of June 1942 and travelled to Scapa Flow to join HMAS Shropshire as a gunner's mate on 3rd of February 1943. On return to Australia, Shropshire immediately joined Task Force 74 based at Milne Bay, and her campaign against the Japanese began in December 1943 as part of the island hopping strategy employed to regain Dutch New Guinea and surrounding islands. On 25th of October 1944, Alan, as a gunner, saw action against the Japanese fleet of Admiral Nishimura, with Shropshire engaging the Japanese flagship Yamashiro. As one of many Allied warships, Shropshire was in attendance in Tokyo Bay for the Japanese surrender ceremony on 2nd of September 1945. And from there, Alan returned with the ship to Australia, where he posted to HMAS Lonsdale to end his naval service on the 13th of February 1946. Alan married the love of his life, June, in 1948 at Sanssouci, and in 1956, with 3 children, took up a soldier's settlement at Jugiong with a once-off £300 government payment. He worked the property, subsidising his grant with work on neighbouring properties as a rouseabout and doing fencing, until 1995, when he leased the property with the agreement that he continued to live in their family farm home, Ellerslie. Being Corowa born, Alan and his cousin Harvey attended Anzac Day at Corowa until Harvey passed, at which time Alan became a regular at the Jugong services. Alan was always a support of the local community with his family, particularly remembering his attendance at Sunday choir practice sessions and at the old Jugong pub, where the problems of the world will be solved. A definite character who will be missed by the Jugong community in all of the Gundagai RSL sub-branch, lest we forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We'll read lest we forget. Councillor Piper.
Yes, I have two young ladies from BOOROWA who have been selected in a 5-woman prey target shooting team to represent Australia in England at the World Championship. Tracy Barton and Amy Smith. Now, the reason for this, they are number 1 and number 2 shots, so they're damn good. But it's the first time in the history of the Clay Shooting Association that 2 members have come from the same club, and that club is the BOOROWA Gun Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Piper. And I'm sure they will be recognized. And good luck to them in their endeavours. Nobody else? No? Right. We'll move on to 12. Yes, I suppose we do. Pardon me. Yes, I know, Councillor. Just take your time. All right, we need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Foreman, mover, and Councillor Pearson, seconder. Okay, those in favour? Those against? Carried. Now we will move on to General Manager's report. And in front of you, you can see the executive meetings attended, not only by our General Manager, but also by our directors. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Foreman, and a seconder, Councillor Fitzgerald. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. All right, we'll move to 12.2, 2474, Financial Improvement Strategy. The report is there. Do I have a mover? Oh, well, thanks, Mary. Thanks, Councillor Dodd. And a seconder, and then we'll have, okay, Councillor Piper. Does anybody want to ask any question? If not, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Councillor Stadmiller, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm against, Madam Mayor.
All right. Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Councillor Stadmiller. Thank you. It is passed. All right. Well, acceptance of the report. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Thank you. I know you get tired of me saying thank you, but just remember that we are in a public meeting.
It's not the matter to say thank you if you don't mean it. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to 12.3, 2475, Audit and Risk Improvement Committee, ARIC, and sitting fee review. The recommendation is in front of us.
Question.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question to the CFO. Back some number of years, about 3 years ago, I suppose, when the state government announced the revisions to the ARIC requirements, there was discussion of a schedule of fees and I guess you'd say a closed tender arrangement that people would offer to establish a panel to be the independent members for the various ARICs. I'm just wondering whether there is any such fee table that's been developed. I don't believe that there's any tender being let. There's certainly no requirement. But I'd be more interested to hear whether there's any recommendations in regards to fees.
Thanks for that, Councillor. Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Armstrong, no, I'm not aware of any panel in relation to local government. I certainly am aware there is one in relation to other government agencies, and you'll see often if you go on the website, there's just a range of fees for chairs and for independent members. So I'm not aware that anything's been established for local government, but I am aware that there is a range. I think I'll put it the briefing. There is a range for other government agencies in terms of the size of the agency. But if you do, I know if you go on the website, you'll see that the fees for chairs and independent members across ARICs is varied everywhere, quite varied.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just add just one other comment that the current budget's 15,000, so it would be an additional. I've increased by the suggested 15% for council to consider. It will add $1,725 to the bottom line budget in 23-24. Sorry, in 24-25. We've obviously, as you're all aware, we have to have an audit committee, which we do have in place by July 1, 24, which has now been mandated legislated.
Okay, thank you.
Move the report.
I have a question.
Before we do, Councillor Dodd.
So the 15% is basically the 2.5% that's being added in every year.
Yeah, so I've just added 15% to the current fees are shown there, 1648 for the chair and 1,098 for the independent member. To give the suggested figures of 1894.75 and 1262.7.
So we don't have to then say that it will be 2.5% every year from now on. We don't have to pass that, or is that happen in the next?
If we get that direction from LLG, yes, we would obviously bring it to you and advise it will be part of the budget.
I'll still move the recommendation.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Ingram. We just need a seconder. Okay, Councillor Mackie. Oh, pardon me, Councillor Mackie. Those in favour?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. All right, we'll move on now to the 12.4 on page 41, cash and investment report.
Move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Ingram.
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Stadmiller. Any questions? Queries? If not, I'll put it to vote. Those in favour?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. All right, we'll move to 12.5, page 45, outstanding rates, charges and sundry debtors report. The recommendation is there. Do I have a mover?
I'll move that.
Foreman and a seconder, Councillor Stedner. All right,
Yes.
any questions? No, if not, I'll put it to vote. Those in favour?
Question, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering what the strategy is for the implementation of legal action in the recovery of these debts. Are we targeting the low-hanging fruit in regards to the biggest outstanding debt with the lowest number of defaulters, or are we using some other strategy?
Sorry, through Madam Mayor. No, Councillor Armstrong. Certainly that's the current approach, and obviously a lot of people who are coming back to me who have statement of claims in court, and I've been dealing with those as they come on. I find a lot of those people have had previous payment arrangements which have then been defaulted, and so I've request to remove interest. I have so far declined. So we are pursuing with those debts in the court and dealing with the oldest ones, and also dealing with those that are quite large, and there'll be a further reduction as I said in there, come 30 June in relation to a number of debts that I'm recovering. In relation to the sale of land, some people have now come forward and are paying their rates. I so far not engaged in doing any payment arrangements with any of those at this stage, whilst there is an option to do that within the Act. And so as you're aware, that auction will be held in May, and there's some, I think, still about $500,000 in outstanding rates and charges there to be recovered.
Thank you. Councillor Stadmiller, you have a question?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, do we know what we've currently spent on legal fees pursuing people that are owing money, or residents and ratepayers that owe money across this report?
I just missed the first part of your question there, Councillor Stadmiller, but the legal fees...
Just the cost of legal fees on pursuing these funds.
Yeah, they're added to the debt. The legal fees added to the debt. It's included in the notice that goes out that should you not contact us, be aware that there'll be a charge for legal fees, whether it's the statement of demand or, in fact, court costs if we... And there are some people, of course, that have been in that position.
Yeah. Are there further on costs, though, in doing so and engaging the legal firms to pursue this on our behalf?
Yeah, any costs that the firm passes on to us are passed on to the debtor.
Right. Thank you.
Other question while you're there? You said that the sale of the land we notified, and some people have actually come in to pay. Are they paying the whole lot of their rates that are overdue?
As I said, I have not made any payment arrangements for those owing rates at this stage. So if they don't pay the full amount, then the land will stay in stand up for auction.
Thank you.
Unless council decides otherwise. I mean, that's currently.
Through you, Madam Mayor, in relation to the outstanding grants from government agencies, I think it's been established that the first one we haven't expended the money. The two from the Environmental Trust, has that money been expended, or are we still waiting?
No, they haven't been expended. So probably time we follow those up again. Actually, it was about 12 months since I actually had those followed up. So I'll take that on notice and I'll follow that up.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. We'll move on to 12.6. I'll the CFS there. The New South Wales Local Government Grants Commission.
Move the recommendation.
All right, thank you. Councillor Ingram, the seconder. Councillor Foreman. Any questions? Queries? If not, I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Uh, 12.7. All right. Information status. System status, April 2024. The recommendation is in front of us that we receive and note the report. Do I have a mover? Okay, thank you, Councillor Fitzgerald. And
I'll second it.
Stadmiller. All right. Any questions?
I have a question, please.
Yes,
I'm wondering if
Councillor
it's possible to just highlight in bold, italic or something like that the things that have changed since last time, because, you know, we've got all that report to read and there's basically one paragraph that's different, and it would be much easier to just read the bit that's changed rather than reading everything that goes on and on. But I like seeing it there. I like seeing what we've done. I think it's good to be reminded that we are making progress. And is that training that day going to happen?
So I'm glad you asked that question, actually. So through you, Madam Mayor, yes, I can report that actually in relation to the item 2, the account table training that's commenced last week. There's a follow-up schedule of training scheduled for the 10th of May, I think it is. And then we'll be in consultation with Link 4 and Tech 1 in terms of actually implementing the product. I'm mindful I want to try and get that in by 30 June, given our timing. We have had a lot of staffing issues In relation to the training, Technology One Training Day, emphasise that in relation to paragraph A there, we've done a lot of work, which is also part of the management reporting. We've done a lot of work, and in fact another workshop was held with the executive yesterday, and we will be finalising a number of those reports, although they will continue. We're trying to do that by Friday week. So there's been a fair bit of movement in relation to training in those areas. And I think I've reported later that our aim is for after 30 June, because we've already commenced the valuation of assets, that we'll be aiming to have those valuation assets subsequent to the 23-24 audit to be loaded into Technology One. There's other training, by the way, going on as well with Technology One right now with other areas within, which I can report next month. So there's a number of training programs that are underway, including on the revenue modules. I can report there's actually further review happening now with further functionality within the revenue system as well. So what I'll do is, if you like, I'll put a summary on the front of the stuff that we achieve in the next month. I'll attach a report on.
Thank you.
Brilliant, Madam Mayor. What training is happening in relation to the revenue modules?
There's some training around the levy and SUPs, which will be happening in supplementation subdivisions, which will be happening post 30 June. There's a fair bit of work to be done in that area. So we're working on that now, and we're using another council as well, but we're also using other internal staff. So we're actually doing some more, how can I say it, more efficient processes. I'll actually document that. That's about to occur in the next week. I'll document that in the next report.
Okay, if there are no more.
Question, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just in regard to the XL1 training, I note that the first lot was done on the 14th of December last year. The next lot's not going to happen until April 2024. I'm just mindful of the fact that that's 5 months, and people can forget a lot in 5 months. And what may seem as though it's a logical extension of what they've done in the past may seem somewhat confusing. I'm just wondering what sort of revision will be available to support those staff when they start that training in April 2024.
Madam Mayor, yeah, Councillor Armstrong, yeah, look, that's been happening continuously since February. So we're actually doing a revision of the various levels of reporting, and so people are using that skill, and it's currently underway. And I'll document that in the report for next month. So we're looking at reporting under the financial improvement strategy, and so that's been continuing. And as I said, there was a workshop held yesterday where we're actually looking at the reporting levels. So there certainly hasn't been a drop off in terms of that training. I've then delayed that. Then I will actually arrange for not more sophisticated, more detailed level of training another day with Technology One on the financial reporting. So that'll be across finance and some of the people in infrastructure and planning for corporate.
Will we get a cost benefit as part of our financial improvement strategy? The internal efficiencies that should be obtained by being able to do that ourselves rather than paying consultants to do it should be recorded as an internal efficiency, and we should be screaming out from the rafters how we've improved ourselves with it.
I can do that. Just to answer that question, at the moment we have any support from Technology One's been done through the license, through the support program. I mean, a certain amount of hours every month. So at the moment that I can certainly I'll take that on notice. But yes, I'll have to work out what time we've actually spent internally in relation to the costs that would have been saved had we engaged another contractor.
Thank you. So at the moment, Tech One haven't charged us any money at all for this training.
No additional charge from Technology.
Thank you.
Okay, after the discussion,
I'll just make a comment for you, Madam Mayor, just to I've just counted up about 18 revenue modules that you've been working through, and which is great because that's the space that we need to start in, and now I guess move to the assets. But I'm thinking at the back end, similar to what Councillor Armstrong has commented on, are we finding that the workload is becoming, is it more streamlined? Is the staff coping with it? Are you finding that the functions are starting to kick in and it's working, or?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Mayor, again, if I can comment, yes. There's two parts to that. The increased workload through the debt recovery process at the moment is fairly high. So at the same time as trying to improve that efficiency, just be mindful of the fact that the work comes through customer service through the rates area is quite high for me. And through to me dealing with where I'm doing one-on-one interviews with a number of rate players.
Question, for your indulgence, Madam Mayor. Item project priorities number 3, people and safety. Implementation of the following modules to achieve efficiencies based on a proposal from Tech 1. My first comment would be, given what's just been said and spoken about for the staff learning, the modules that we consider urgent and have a high priority and the work that's going on with them, to see that there's a proposal from Tech 1 to also want to kick in organisational management, e-recruitment, talent management, HR training. Find that a bit overwhelming. I imagine the staff probably will too. And the second part of that is a proposal from Tech 1. Did they propose a fee for those modules as well, on top of what we already paid?
Not that I'm aware at this stage, but I'm sure.
So you're saying Tech 1 will give us those modules for nothing?
The modules are in place. It's actually the training within those modules. And so we're trying to do that within the actual support of the training.
Implementation of the following modules.
Yeah.
So Tech 1's telling you that they're there, you should be using them. Well, we can't really use the ones we need to use. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
What I'm saying is overload. Deputy Mayor just spoke about the importance of staff being able to handle what they've got. And Councillor Armstrong said the same thing. Yet I read here on a proposal from Tech 1, there's going to be 4 new modules put in.
We actually have these modules, so we're actually paying a license fee for these modules. So we have.
I can only go on the report, what the report says.
Okay.
Following modules to achieve efficiency based on a proposal from Technology 1.
Right. So what I'll do is I'll actually outline exactly what's occurring within those areas. So we have the advantage where we have will now being replaced. The acting, who obviously reports direct to corporate, the acting people and safety manager, who previously was at Eurobadella, has experience across these areas. So he is working in actually then embedding this software into the system, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions, I'll put it to those in favour. Unanimous.
No, strongly against, sorry.
Pardon me, I didn't see.
Strongly against, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sever. We'll move on to 12.8, development application stats for March 2024.
So
recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Fitzgerald, and second, Councillor Hewson. All right. Any questions?
Yeah, can I just get a point of clarification about development applications 2024-0020 and 0021, and that's on page 80 in the middle of it. It's the same address, the same development, same status. The only thing that seems to be different is the application number. Just some clarification.
So through you, Madam Chair, Mayor, it's so they are 2 related but separate applications achieving the same outcome, same applicant, 2 different applications.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? If not, I will put it to the floor. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Well, the next one, as everybody knows, is actually full. So we will move to 12.10, establishment of alcohol-free zones in HARDEN, MURRUMBURRAH.
So moved if they're the same as they were. I can't see the map.
Councillor Stadmiller, and the seconder? No, Councillor Dodd. Right. If there are no
I do,
queries,
yeah, I have a
Question?
question.
thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, the map of the diagram on page 106, I think relating to, is it the barn store? I just can't see how that slots in with this. Is that in the right spot or just?
So through you, Madam Mayor, the map for Murrumburrah shows 2 exclusion zones. They are currently the Lighthorse Hotel and the Terracotta Restaurant, or the former Terracotta Restaurant. The inclusion of Barn Store as an exclusion zone, council consulted with New South Wales Police, who advised that they would oppose that as an exclusion zone, as that premises doesn't currently have a liquor licence that allows on footpath consumption of alcohol.
All right, there are no more queries or questions, so I'll put it to the floor. Councillor Flannery.
So if they wish to pursue it, they just have to go and get an amendment to their liquor licence for the footpath.
Yes, that's correct.
And then come back and.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I'll put it to vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to 1211, ARRB road condition survey and road.
Happy to move with the question, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stadmiller. Do I have a seconder? Woman, Councillor Stadmiller.
Was this the fancy 4-wheel drive covered in cameras that was taking photographs or footage of the road there some 10, 12 months ago?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Have we got that data now, and has any of it been acted upon?
Yes, we have that data. We have been using it in our planning. The reporting from ARRB has not yet been finalised. As we mentioned in the report, I believe we're expecting it to be completed by the 30th of May, but we have been using it so far.
Yeah, I just have fears with this again due to the exorbitant cost that it took to have this implemented and the time frame that roads can deteriorate in a number of weeks, let alone months. We need to look at how successful this is this time round before we implement this again. I think councillors need to have a think about doing it the old way with a couple of staff in a ute and the notepad, which might sound archaic but has proven useful in the past. Thank you.
Councillor Stadmiller, councillors are aware of that. We spoke about it a couple of meetings, and unfortunately that you were expelled from because you wouldn't apologise.
Thank you for the clarification, Councillor.
Councillor Flannery.
Question for you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for showing me the courtesy of coming through.
Can we get confirmation of when we voted to move these funds? Was it pre-June or was it August?
May if I can answer that. February last year was when we voted. Councillor?
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. And my memory was through a promise to report in October. Is that correct?
I think we were promised to report a little bit before that, actually, on a number of occasions.
So what were the terms of the agreement? You know or remember?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm not aware of the specific terms of the agreement, but I can bring that up.
Hi, thank you.
Well, I think through you, Madam Mayor, we need to express our disappointment to ARRB because to have a contract that wouldn't have been signed in February, but certainly by March, we voted funds from other roadworks. I think we voted $300,000 away from other roadworks for this to occur, and here we are 13 or 14 months later, still no report. Promised to report in May. It's clear that staff are having to decipher some of the information themselves. So the obvious question would be what other works staff had to divert from to to interpret this data, which certainly I don't remember being in the detail of what was required when we voted these funds across, which I actually voted against. Thought we'd be far better off putting the money into road repairs. So if we could, for the next meeting, get some detail on staff hours spent deciphering this information, the details of the contract, please, so that we don't make this mistake again.
Yes, I'm happy to bring that.
Question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Armstrong.
I may have asked this question in the asset committee meeting. I'm uncertain about that, but perhaps the acting director could advise council or apprise council of the use of this data in determining the future works for council, particularly for next year's budget in areas of reseals.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I can confirm that the data has been used. However, I'll have to come back and which has been used particularly for resale.
Will it be used for the as yet undetermined budget workshops for council?
Can you understand?
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Councillor Armstrong, if I understand your question, or please confirm my understanding is correct for staff. The information provided through the ARRB work that's been done today, we have used that partially to inform works. Your question is, will the work that has been undertaken form part of the proposal put forward by staff on how we allocate money in the budget we present to you and inform councillors on how that information is informed us to inform you?
Certainly, that's it, Mr. General Manager. If at the end of the day, this any recommendation should be supported by evidence, and this is excellent evidence.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. We will do that.
Can I just get clarification on how the data has been used to inform council on existing works? Because I would have thought if it's meant roads are more deteriorated than need to be, that should come back to council for voted funds, or I can't see how it's informed council already.
If I can, through you, Madam Mayor, my understanding from talking with staff is without physically having to go and look at the road, the data has shown what the condition of the road is, and therefore that's formed part of the scheduling works and helped inform. It's just additional information that we've brought then to you for a decision. The Director, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, that's correct, General Manager. So it's been used more in terms of how we schedule our works where the funding is already allocated by council.
All right. After discussion, no more questions. I'll put it to vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. We'll move on to 12.12, 2384, Hilltops Water Reservoir costings. And quite a comprehensive report. The recommendation is that council receive in that. Thank you, Councillor Flannery. Seconder, Councillor Piper. Councillor Flannery, have you got any questions? All right.
I will say I don't agree that we shouldn't be looking at the poly line, but anyway, the report details of cost per megaliter. Thank you.
Right, thank you. There are no more
Question. Just under the rates there where it says 2014, that's the year that these rates have come from, is it? Is it 10 years old now? On page 111, sorry.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So that's correct. The rates were first established in 2014, and since then, further guidance has been provided by the department on how to adjust those rates to current rates.
Yeah, and are they in line with how we believe a reservoir should end up costing, or is that anywhere near the current market rate if we put the two together?
Yeah, so we've had feedback from other utilities in the region, including Golden Fields Water, who were involved in development of the original rates. And for reservoirs in particular, the estimates that come from the manual are typically representative of the reservoir being the tank only and no attachments. So yes, they are reflective of them.
Yeah, it's definitely some of the add-ons that make it far more expensive. If I can just ask Councillor Flannery, I didn't quite hear what he mentioned there about a liner or something, if you could elaborate on that.
My comment would be, I find it hard to believe we can't use steel tanks with polyliners in them, which wasn't listed in the quote. When we put forward the application for the government grant, we only chose the concrete reservoirs.
Yeah.
I had missed the 2014 reference. If you took inflation on other aspects, as pointed out by you, I think these figures would be well out of date.
Yeah, I have to agree they'd be well out of date, but I don't disagree that the polyliner shouldn't be sort of looked at for specialist cases as well, and getting that around some of the engineers in various departments can be difficult at times. So it's something that council and Golden Fields and other water utilities need to look at for specialist cases, I think. It shouldn't just be put to the side as not suitable if the cost is far more minimal and the longevity is at a reasonable length. You've just got to marry that up. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Stedmiller. There are no more comments, questions. I'll put it to vote. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Move on to 12.13, Local Roads and Community Infrastructure Program Phase 4. Recommendations there. Receive and note the report and adopt the recommendations listed in Table 1 for the proposed projects to be funded through this program. I'll have a mover. Councillor Piper, and seconder, Councillor Fitzgerald. Councillor Piper, do you have any questions? Oh, pardon me. So, are you still happy to move it? Okay, Councillor Fitzgerald, you second. Okay. Councillor Fitzgerald, you put your
just a bit of a clarification from the acting director of infrastructure on page 116. Young stormwater repairs. In that paragraph, it says the stormwater main that runs from the rail corridor of Burrungal Creek parallel to Clark Street has failed on Lynch Street. Now, I could be wrong, but I thought Clark and Lynch Street were a couple of 100 metres apart. I'm just confused about the geography there. Does it run through Lynch Street, which is parallel to Clark Street? I'm just confused. I know it says it's parallel, but why is Clark Street mentioned if it's through Lynch Street? And I'm just confused about the wording, that's all.
I think we're just trying to identify it. Sorry if that's confusing.
Yeah, so for you, Madam Mayor, yes, so it runs, the main runs under tire power from the rail corridor. And essentially, it's most direct route to the creek. And it has failed on the street.
Should it say level street?
Oh, yes, sorry, it should say level street. That's correct. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Councillor Dodd.
Through you, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
have we any idea how the Rockdale Road upgrade is going?
Through you, Madam Mayor, and no, The tender has been awarded and that process is underway. It's in train.
So we're just waiting for it to actually start.
I have to take that on notice, but I didn't know it's.
For you, Madam Mayor, yes, we're just waiting for it to start.
Okay, thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and probably the opportunity I needed because the Rockdale Road contract, as we know, was mired in controversy, at least only to the councillors who knew about it, not to the general public. So could we please get details of what happened in relation to the award of the tender for Rockdale Road, as it's listed on the business paper?
I'm happy to bring a report to council in confidential because the tender process is confidential. I'll bring that to the next meeting, councillor.
Look, I don't know whether the point of order is appropriate, but the tender has been awarded now. I'm not asking for any names to be divulged. I'm asking for details of why the tenderer was rejected without what I believe was a proper scrutiny of the council, and where, for want of a better way, apologies were subsequently made, at least to councillors, in relation to the.
Madam Mayor, I reviewed the process and it was in accordance with the tender protocol as we're required to under section 55 of the local government act.
So plenary, I'd like to jump in there with you through, with your indulgence, Madam Mayor. I too spoke to the General Manager offline in regard to the tender process, not this individual tender, but the whole tender processing council. And the General Manager has assured me he will bring a report to council outlining just what is available to the kind of councillors. And my point was that if there's more information in the business paper in confidential, the councillors can have a good understanding of all tenders, what the money was and what the values were, and the whole box and dice. We would then be able to explain ourselves to the community rather than saying, I don't know, they told me due process was followed. So that's the question I asked, and the General Manager has assured me that he's undertaking that process.
Thank you, Councillor Ingram, but I have, as councillors will know, probably not a lot of the public, we had $3 million to expend by June 2024, which we were advised of, I think in November, it was October or November 2023, in relation to the VAG grants. And it was pretty clear that we had to expend the money quickly, or when the next allocation comes around, we would probably be pro-rata cut back. So having spent most of the winters of 2022 and 2023 not doing road works and then having roads deteriorate rapidly because of the wetness, and we were told we were short of funds, I was sort of knocked me over the feather when I found out that there was $3 million sitting in the video that we hadn't expended. And then the rush was on to expend it. So Rockdale Road was one of the nominees, as was a bridge out here that we're somehow managing to spend $900,000 on the causeway. So the hunt was on for on projects that we could do, cost a lot of money in a very short time. What we didn't know at the time was there was a tender for $300,000 less than that which was awarded. So 10% of our available funds went to an out-of-town tenderer when there was a in-town tenderer who was rejected because the paperwork wasn't correct. So they're the details I'm aware of. I look forward to a report in confidential, which hopefully will make its way into the public domain. So I find it very disappointing that we're not willing to bring the full details to the community awareness.
I'm sure that GM will make anything that he is able available.
As I said, the process has been followed and I will bring a report to the council on the appropriate.
Question, Madam Mayor, with your indulgence, in regard to the Jugian pool upgrade. There was a grant achieved by the state member, just over $1 million, and council had allocated $325,000 towards the project. The trouble was with this project, we got grant money before we found out just how much it would cost to have the works done. Council has had ARIC get a report done on all our swimming pool facilities and all the communities, so we knew how much money would be needed and where that money would need to be spent on which facility. But no, we jumped in and took this grant. So we've got funding of $1.37 million. And in this allocation, we have provisional, if required, of $500,000. That's a big provision. And we're way out of our depth with these quotations of what these costs might be. With $1.9 million, you're up to if you spend that $500,000. And there's obviously some concern by staff, and I understand that costs are rising, for the need to feel there is a need to set aside $500,000. Do you have any idea at all how much these costs will be? And I understand it's very hard for the acting director just stepping up to the chair and enjoying it. But is there any information in regard to that on just what those costs might be?
I'll ask the manager of projects and contracts to respond.
For you, Madam Mayor, we're currently doing a tender evaluation for that project, so we'll be able to bring it to next month with the cost and we can see what they are. We put quite a high figure in there, so we have to come back again in case we need more. So we'll go high, we can reduce it as we need to, and then bring the money back to you.
And it'll be used on a need-by basis.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. There are no more questions. I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Against? Thank you. Carried. We'll move on now to 1214. And that's Robert's Park change room.
Madam Mayor, I'm just saying, do we move this straight to the next report? There seems to be two reports in the same region. It's about the Roberts Park County.
Yeah, I'll move that with a point of clarification. I believe that pages 124 and 125 are 2 pages out of date. They should follow the risk report, not the 1215. It's just I think collating.
So no, through you, Madam Mayor, the reports are by design together, but they are 2 different requests. The first request was in relation to the status of the change rooms with the budget of $200,000 and a risk register. That was a request given the risk register in relation to the $200,000 that is currently in the budget. And so then that is the report before you. Then subject to that, that's what has been approved by council, and that is information for councillors in relation to the risk profile of where we are. The next report at 1215-2487 Play Our Way program grant funding is a new grant that is available for expressions of interest where the proposition put forward by staff is seeking your consideration of us doing an expression of interest, not an application for the funds as yet. We have to get through an expression of interest process first, where there is potentially $1.5 million on the table and adding the $200,000 for potentially new build. So that's the difference between the reports. One report is the risk register, where we are today. The next report is, notwithstanding that, would you like us to consider putting an expression of interest in? Does that answer your question, Councillor Fitzgerald?
It does, and we'll move 1214.
And I'll second with Councillor Fitzgerald. Let's get it and do that one, and then get on to the next report that we'll be dealing with.
Okay. If there are no more questions on 1214.
Question: when does the expression of interest close? And then,
Are we
moving to put them together? Wasn't there a move?
No,
we're not. We're just going to do the first one first.
Okay, so 1214. Okay, and those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. We'll move now on to 1215, which is the Play Our Way program grant funding. Thank you, Councillor.
Happy to second.
Councillor Ingram. Councillor Flannery.
No question. When does the when are the submissions due No, it's probably here and there. I think I've just spotted it. Thank you. They close on midnight for the 4th. Is that correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah,
And have-
expression of interest.
What has to accompany the expression of interest?
I'll pass to our Director of Infrastructure and complete the project. The assessment criteria is what is the project purpose and how much will it cost? This is on page 123. Why is your project needed and why you believe the organisation should get funded to deliver the project? We believe we have that information based on the discussions happening in the chamber already. Obviously, we want male and female amenities and separate male and female change rooms. So visiting teams can have preliminary. That's the primary function. And this does particularly lean towards that because it's all that.
So does it require what do you call it? Letters of support, plans and diagrams? I mean, how detailed is the expression of interest? Or is that stage 2?
That's in stage 2.
Yeah, that's the next stage. This is an expression of interest. It's essentially a questionnaire that we answer in response to those criteria to say, well, it's a good project. The other detail is in the bottom.
We able to email the details of the project?
Yeah.
To you, Madam Mayor,
Before it closes, please.
just a question. So do we feel that the 1,500 grant, if we are the 1.5, sorry, grant that we if we're successful, plus the 200,000 we already have, so the 1.7 will be enough to complete building? Well, they've given us a possible change room scenario. I just wondered whether that equals, I think that would be the cost for that.
So that possible design is just that. It's an example of a design that we could provide. Essentially, we're asking for council endorsement for us to express an interest in the maximum of 1.5 million.
Just worrying about overruns, but it's a great idea and we seem to move it. So.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, just to comment that it's a no-brainer. We've got $200,000 and we could put 1.5 with it. Yeah, absolutely a no-brainer.
I just add, sorry, Madam Mayor, just add to that, as part of the financial improvement strategy criterions, there is a business case type. And so if there's any, should we be successful in saying, yes, this looks interesting to us, we will bring in the business case format to councillors for your consideration as for whole life cost depreciation maintenance.
Question, is there a minimum requirement for co-contribution? Or is there any?
I think it's just always looked favourably upon it.
Yeah, so no co-contribution required, but they do look favourable.
And that 200,000 would be out.
Yes, that's right.
We were just trying to leverage off what we've already been paid.
All right, and Councillor Dodd.
I'm happy for us to put in an expression of interest. However, I read in several places that it's aimed specifically towards women, primary or exclusive focus towards women and girls, otherwise it's ineligible. So I would love it to happen, but I mean, it's a Commonwealth.
Given that
funding.
there's
We can put it in, it doesn't require a lot of effort, so let's do it. But
I did point out when the last matter came before council the first time that there are no female change rooms at Roberts Park, and they use the men use the men come in on a Saturday afternoon to play rugby and use the junior change rooms, which is sex junior kids.
Right, thank you. Yeah, no, I read somewhere else that there was male, female child change rooms that were going to be that we were looking at. So now, yeah,
We would call this a female change room. So
We certainly would.
Junior soccer, and we can soon change the nameplates after.
Councillor Stadmiller and then Councillor Parker.
Just to assist Councillor Dodd there, my wife and I assisted the Harden District Bowling Club at one stage in 2 grants that were aimed at female participation in sport. One for $30,000, one for $50,000 for a total of 80, of which they were successful. So I'm happy to assist there. A couple of things that I have issue with here, though. I'd like to see what McLean Oval's 2-story facility cost with the 4 change rooms underneath, made from brick with 2 ramps with disabled access that go up a steep incline with a large eating area inside and a commercial kitchen. It'd be good to get some costings from that. This doesn't look to sort of way up anywhere near that. I don't know how many people are going to fit in the VIP club room. It looks a little small at 6 by 9 compared to McLean Oval or the Harden Racecourse facility. But I welcome the idea of trying to have 4 change rooms down there, because the She Devils, for example, are having to change still in difficult circumstances, and often come off and get changed at times when the men are going on. They've learned to cohabitate, but it's not ideal. So just on the outside too, quickly with one more question for the director, is that blue scope tin and then cladding that's going up there?
Yeah. Through you, Madam Mayor, that as noted earlier, the possible design is just that. It's not a proposed design, it's just an example of the sort of structure we may be able to provide. As Councillor Flannery pointed out earlier, the structure would essentially be scoped to do that.
Yeah, that would be good. That we would probably get a little bit more bang for our buck there. It's not ugly, but I just don't know if it's going to deliver $1.7 million when I think McLean Oval might have come in at 1.2 or something. And I understand that now was 3 to 4 years ago under the previous government. But anyway, happy to offer any advice as I have a bit of knowledge between a couple of the amenities around town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. If there are no more questions, comments, I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. We'll move on to 1216, 2388, bulk LED street light replacement. And the report is in front of us, and the recommendation also to allocate any unspent funding on further LED upgrades on high consumption sites that align with the approved scope of works and funding guidelines. Councillor, okay. Councillor Fitzgerald and Councillor Foreman. Right.
Second, just a question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor.
Are we getting prices here from CBRJO, and are we marrying those up against REROC and seeing who's getting a better deal, or are we going it alone with this?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I believe the councillor may be referring.
Are you at 1216? We're on bulk LED street light.
Bulk LED street light replacement, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, are we getting some of the LEDs by working in conjunction with CBRJO?
No.
We're not?
Okay.
Point of clarification, Councillor Stadmiller, I think that according to the report, it's complete. We have 52,000 in kitty, is that correct?
Okay, my apologies. So at any stage, did we deal with CBRJO to get a better price with these, or with the Southern Lights program they run?
My understanding is we didn't. This work was undertaken under a Commonwealth grant, and I believe essentially we did.
Okay, fair enough. If someone else has paid for it, all good.
Councillor Armstrong.
I'm just wondering how many further installations the remaining funds will give us. We've got an idea? Just rough?
Yeah, so we have contacted Essential Energy. There's only a handful of public lights in the local government area that haven't been converted. I believe the number was 3. However, they proposed an alternative use of that money. However, we haven't explored that fully with them.
Question through you, Madam Mayor. Well, thank you. I just went through it quickly, the numbers, and the only thing that caught my eye was when it comes to the last column in the cost savings. And you go down to the Boorowa Street lighting, and the cost saving in 22-23 was in the red. So I don't, it's my reading of it in red print, minus 912, so we didn't save a lot in 22-23 in Boorowa. There must be a reason.
Yeah, so the reason for that is that the rates changed in that financial year. So while we still reduced our energy consumption, we were paying more per unit.
Okay, but then the cost savings in Young was still $39,000. And in Harden, they was $17,000 in the same year, but yet they were negative in Boorowa. That marry up or?
I'd have to check the specifics.
Yeah, thank you.
We can that come back? That just seems extraordinary that the 47% reduction from the baseline has been eaten up by increasing the fee.
Yes, we'll come back to them.
Okay, thank you, Director, Acting Director. If there aren't any more questions, I'll put.
Just one question.
Councillor Armstrong.
If we've only got 3 public street lights to upgrade, that's absolutely fantastic, and I commend the acting director and his staff on the work in getting this done. But I'm just wondering, the council has any number of very large floodlights that it has installed in a number of locations, particularly parks and reserves, for security purposes. Are we able to use some of that money to convert from flood lamps of an inferior technology? Or does it have to be street lights?
I think I will have to come back to you on that. We'll definitely look at other lighting that we may be able to convert using this money.
Thank you.
The high consumption signs. So, what you're talking about, Councillor Armstrong?
I'm thinking of the massive floodlights that illuminate the works depot. I'm thinking of the massive floodlights that illuminate some of the areas in and around the various towns. I'm thinking of the massive floodlights at Boorowa Showground. There's plenty of instances of where a reduction in the use of electricity could save us some money and potentially save the hire some money too.
Okay, thank you. If there are no more questions or comments, I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, councillors. We'll turn now to 1217, 2489, GALONG Limestone Mine BPA steering S355 committee terms of reference. And the recommendation is there to receive that report and adopt the GALONG Limestone Mine BPA steering S355 committee terms of reference. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Piper, and a seconder, Councillor Dodd. Councillor Armstrong, have you a question?
I do. In regard to the council staff member that's a manager there, will that be a staff member subordinate to the general manager? Or will it be the general manager? Because if they're subordinate to the general manager, they could be given their voting instructions by the general manager.
I thank you for that question, Councillor Armstrong. I asked exactly the same in a slightly different way at the last meeting.
Through Madam Mayor, the question regarding to the voting rights of the staff member, all staff members ultimately refer through to me. The placement of question is, yes, it's subordinate to me, so yes, they could take instructions from me. However, not being present and what the debate ensues and what may come up in the meeting, I'm not sure that I could give instructions to the person present without being there. That's a limitation of my ability to direct them. Notwithstanding that, the voluntary planning agreement, as signed and as amended, as the membership has stipulated within this terms of reference. So this report again comes within the agenda so that we can move forward in accordance with the VPA. A later report in relation to the minutes where it was debated at the GALONG Section 3.5 committee has established. At that point, we again highlight that we are unable to adopt the recommended amendment to 7F. Only way we can change the VPA is by working with Greymont and going through that process to change it, to change the voting rights of the staff member. Practice has been the staff member have voted, the practice that gives no assurity other than what has gone before. So you may want to, this would have to be a discussion with Greymont in the first instance because it's a voluntary planning agreement and they have to be in concurrence to change the VPA, and there is a cost in relation to changing the VPA. The question before you, Councillor, is the staff member having a voting right that has not been utilised of issue that you want to progress the investigation on? It's in your hand.
Through you, Madam Mayor. My question, and for your benefit, Councillor Armstrong, was: is there a conflict of interest in a staff member voting through funds that should be arguably determined by council? I accept everything that the General Manager has said, that it's an existing standing agreement and would require amendment through the channel. That doesn't necessarily mean the agreement's correct. Start with, my question was, is there a conflict of interest? I am of the view, uninformed as it is, that staff members shouldn't be voting on allocation of council funds, for want of a better way of putting it.
Through you, Madam Mayor, as a Section 355 committee, and the minutes and their recommendations are only recommendation from the committee. They have no authority to implement change. You, the councillors, would vote through. So should there be an allocation of funds, there is actually a recommendation and allocation of funds in tonight's minutes, and you, the councillors, will adopt those minutes and those recommendations or not. So irrespective of whether a staff member utilised the vote or not, if they utilise the vote to support the recommendation to utilise funds in that way, that comes to naught when it comes before you here to adopt or otherwise the recommendations of that committee. You will have the vote to vote whatever that recommendation to vote cast that vote. You have the authority to.
No, with the indulgence of the mover and seconder, I'd like to move Part C, that receive a note report, adopt the GALONG Limestone Main BPA terms of reference so that they are at least adopted, and C, that we get legal advice on the appropriateness of the staff member having voted enough.
Councillor Potter, are you happy to accept that amendment? Okay, then the amendment becomes a.
Councillor has a question.
He does. Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, my concern is it's not that there would be a staff member voting for the allocation of funds, because at the end of the day, the recommendation has to come back to council for adoption, and council can always say no. My concern is that there is no protection for the General Manager and or the staff member against an allegation of attempting to pervert the direction of a vote. I just think that this is very unfair to the general manager and immensely unfair to the staff member. If an allegation was to be made by the staff member, then the general manager would not be able to defend himself, because at the end of the day, these are operational matters. So I just think that in the long run, the best thing to do for us is to ask Greymont to consider revision of clause 7 entirely, to remove the council staff member, to remove the voting rights of the council staff member. And if that takes a little time to do, then perhaps that's what it'll do. But I just have concerns that at the moment there are some significant flaws in there that we shouldn't allow. Anyway, that'll be a matter for council.
That's right. So now we have
with your indulgence, well, I'm happy for my amendment to stand, but perhaps we should just circumvent it and go back to Greymont and ask that the staff member have no voting right to the amendment to adopt this. And there won't be another committee meeting, I think, July or August.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the motion there will be the general manager approach Greymont to put forward the proposition to modify the VPA, specifically in relation to removal of the voting rights of this.
Yes, I think that would be the staff member remains as a member, because clearly
it's only removing the voting rights.
Guidance is often required at the meeting from the staff member.
Anybody else there? Councillor Parker, are you happy with that? Okay, if there's no more discussion, I'll put it to the floor. Everybody had time to read it?
Yep.
Question from Councillor Stone.
Aye.
I think it's about time.
Yeah.
Now, A, receive and note the report, and B, adopt the GALONG limestone mine VPA steering S355 committee terms of reference, and C, the general manager approach Greymont to put forward the proposition to modify the VPA to remove the voting rights of the staff member. Okay. All right. Everybody clear? I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? That's Armstrong. Right, it's carried. Thank you, everybody. We'll turn now to 12/18/24/19, the Capital Works Program.
Happy to move with questions.
Thank you, Councillor Ingram. A seconder?
I'll second it, and I'll have some questions too.
Okay, Councillor Fitzgerald as well. Councillor Ingram.
Director. I, amongst other councillors, really appreciate the work that has now been put into the Capital Works report. So the councillors are aware of where we are with projects, the Capital Work program. And I fully understand that we've just stepped into the role. I just want to point out a few things. So in the future, it'll all come together for you, and it'll be a simple operation for you to get the councillors where they're up to on the money being spent. At the moment, there's a couple of glitches, and I'm quite happy to put them down to changeover. I don't hold anyone responsible here at the moment, but if I go to my pet, gravel resheeting, and we'll start at Harden, former LGA, back Gelong Road. There was $20,000 allocated, obviously in before the end of the second quarterly budget report. We allocated another $23,000 there because the budget after QBR2 was $43,000. That's fine. We must have moved the finance over to that. You look at the expenditure of $9,000, budget went 21,000 percentage, project 5%. And in the key to that, it says planning. When I go back to the December report, but it said this work was projected for January 24. Now in April, so we'll do them one at a time. Have you got any? This was at the 31st of the 3rd, so there's only been 3 weeks since then. Is there any more work being done on the back Geelong Road in regard to gravel reshedding?
Thank you, Councillor. No, it's not. So the report at this stage reflects the cost of material.
So our estimate of January was a fair way up. But anyway, we'll work on that. The next question in regard to that was the report probably needs to show the works that have been completed and leave them on there. So we come to the end of the financial year, councillors can do their own calculations and see where that funding has been allocated by councillors, whether it's been spent or whether we're going to have to carry it over. Just looking at the number of works it's not done, there'll be a big carryover this year, but I'd like to know how much money was spent on McLaren's Reef Road and Linden Road. They're both down as completed in the December report. So those costings should well and truly be easy enough. Had a budget of 50,000 and 20,000. Where it's got completed at the end of the column, it'd be handy if we know just how much we spent on them. Future reference. And it would go up here from the November report. It had Woodlands Road and Lulworth Road down to have work done. They've fallen off the map completely because they're not in this month's report.
I'll ask the manager. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, those roads are being postponed and that money's going to run back to Young Road to make up that 33,000 stuff that money's been moved to.
So that 34,000 has been moved. No, that's where the 23,000 came out of there.
Yes,
so they've been dropped off. They're not going to be done.
No, not this year, no.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question. Thank you very much. All right, we'll go to BOOROWA. We've got Little Plains Road. They spent 14,000, which is 59% of the funding, 95% of the work's done, which is great. So I just assumed there's more costings to come in for that project.
Yes, that's correct.
To finalise the money on that. Very good. In regards to same thing, I'd like to have the dollar signs there of how much money was expended on Heathville Road, down as completed. And also looking like it's fell off the map from the December report is Kenya Road and Grassy Creek Road. They were listed in December as having $20,000 allocation each. Oh, sorry, numbers are wrong. Little Plains Road, we've got Kenya Road was 30,000 and Grassy Creek was 20,000, but they don't appear in the April report.
We can confirm
So, back me on that, right? Okay. So we'll move on to the former Young LGA. And in the December paper, Maringo SR had its allocation, and there'd been $2,380 spent for allocation. So that was at the end of September. Would have been the numbers. If we come to the paper today, in April, it's still the same amount of money. It's been expended 2,380 for Maringo SR. So my question there is, it was allocated to be done. Oh, but many of them in February 24. So we spent 2,380 that was reported in December, and now we're at 31st of the 3rd, which only spent the same amount of money. And there's 30% of work completed. So do we know where that's up to, or anything about Maringo Stockery?
So that work was done this month. So it won't,
Sorry?
that work was done this month, so it won't show I believe this report is as of the April.
Yep, 31st of the 3rd. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we'll be back to report on that one in the next month. Newell's Road. December paper said budget of 10,000, spent 3,341. And it says complete. The April paper says $10,000 budget, 3,341 spent, 30% done, work continuing. As I say, these are just probably glitches in the changeover of how things have been done. But if you're saying the December paper that have been spent, we've done that cheap, it's complete. I've been looking at the April paper and the same amount of money been expended, 30% done, work to continue. Right, have a look at that one as well.
Yes, thank you.
West Lane said complete in December. In April, it's 20% done and continue. Same scenario. And then we have some roads that fell off the map from the December report to this report being Douglas Gap Road, Monteagle SR West, and Boundary Road. So we just can't. What I'd like to know, we're not going to get all the work done. I understand that, but I just want to know why they were dropped off in this particular stage and where the funding is. So if you could just take on notice, I know you look it up.
For you, Madam Mayor, those have been completed. We'll bring them on to the next report to show that.
All right. So they've just been completed in the last couple of weeks. So take it on notice.
Yeah,
Take it on notice. That's fine. Like Community Lane, I see in January, it was planned to be done in January, nothing's happening there yet neither. So there's a lot of work to be done and some won't get done. So what I'd like to see in the next month and the month after report is a full list presented to council. If they're completed, that's great. We've got all the costs in, all the costings are there, please. So then we can see how we're going with our budgets towards the end of this financial year. Then going forward into next year, we will be able to trace with staff our budgets on this allocation. And we know what work's done and what work's left. Because at the moment, so one more time, I understand, and I'll put it down to glitches in the process. Congratulations on what you've done. It just needs a little bit more fine tuning. So one report following the other can correspond. Because we've had this case before, we get to a QBR and it doesn't marry up. It's very embarrassing for councillors and even more embarrassing for staff. Appreciate the work towards this program. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback, and we will come back to you. Oh, the future versions will include those completed works, and we'll come back to you with other clarification. Thank you.
Just a question. The Moringo stock route, does it run from Olympic Highway around and back in, going up with what the middle lake is for the name of Cross Road and then back into Mania? Where is which? Well, I thought I was seeing from Olympic Highway back around the Chum Lane, 9 mile, isn't it? I drove on it the other day. I just wasn't too sure where in gravel. I'll have a look. When I drove on what I thought was Moringo stock route, I didn't see any evidence of gravel resheeting anyway. Not that you get too much for $2,000.
Councillor question. Just on page 150, it's just got here, Young Cemetery, new location, and it's just got, percentage of work completed and just works continuing. I just wonder if it's possible if we could just get a report back so the community knows where we're up to with that Young Cemetery.
We can do a report. Do you want to update on the work that's just about to start?
Yes, so I can give you a brief report now and then I'll just provide a written report to council. So we've just engaged contractors to geotechnical and environmental work on the area for the proposed expansion of the young cemetery. And following on from that, we will be proposing funding in next year's budget.
And we'll receive the report in the next few months, or looking at longer term or shorter?
We'll provide a written report.
Okay. Any more questions? Councillor King?
Oh, Councillor Armstrong.
Just following on from the Deputy Mayor's questions there, I'm just wondering whether there's any proposals to pour some additional plaque beams in the existing lawn cemetery at Young, and if so, how many does the staff believe that we're able to pour, physically fit in there?
Thanks. Yes, there are plans to pour new beams. I believe we have space for one or two. There's not a huge amount of space there, but we are proposing to install them.
Will that be next year's budget?
Yes.
Thank you.
So Dodd.
Page 151, where it's got the one on street drainage stormwater harden, is that now not mixing? Because like if this reports it in March, or are we doing everything?
It's still,
happening?
yes. Still
Is that what we're doing? Yeah.
Okay, any Joel? It's Joel.
Just one more question. I just want to talk about the water meter replacement. Is that done by council staff or contractors?
So that is done by council staff. There will be a separate proposal put to council relating to smart metering, which will involve a contractor.
Can I bring you to your attention something which you might like to take on board of a case I know of somebody who has enough roofage to get rainwater from the sheds and very rarely has to use their water and thus leaves it switched off. When the water meter was replaced, it was switched on and the owner didn't know, and there was a number of hours, and we're not sure exactly how many hours, that he had a leak leading to his tank. So if you could recommend to the staff that they replace the water meters in the same way that they find off on, off or on. Thank you.
Yes, I can certainly do that. My understanding is that's the normal approach. However, really different opinions.
Question, with your indulgence, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councillor.
Bring your attention to page 153. And it's the road repairs. And the two that I'll speak about, Iberinga Road and the Race Creek Road. We've got the allocations. We've got what was spent up to the 31st of 3rd, 24. 75% of work continuing. The works were done in them roads. I'll go take a stab. My memory got too good. September sometime last year. The only work that came back to do it was where it failed in a couple of spots, and that was done before Christmas. We're now at the end of April, and it's saying to me 75% work continuing. There's a couple of things to this. I'd like to know what's remaining to be done. And the same goes for Race Creek Road. $150,000 at the time. I thought, well, that seems like a lot of money for a little bit of work that had to be done. And it's turned out that way, but it says there's only 35% of the work done. Work continuing. It was done at the same time as Iberinga Road. I'm not too sure about the work that's remaining. What I am sure of, going on those figures, there's $116,000 left to the Iberinga Road and $106,000 left in the Race Creek Road. Question is, are those funds being held? Because those funds were allocated to those roads. Now, if we've come in under budget, done all the work that needs to be done, great. It's simplistic, I know, I'm a bit practical me, but will we spend that money there? My concern is I pick that money up and it'll go a long, long way. We spent a long way from Dibberunga or Race Creek Road. So I'd like to know where that money is. Beg your pardon? Yeah, I know there's plenty of roads can be spent on, but let's spend it where it was allocated by council. So firstly, the percentages of the finished work that this report's saying, I'd like some clarification. I'd actually like to meet with the acting director on site. Talk about that. Yeah. You're up to that. And explain what I'm saying on site to you. And there's plenty of room there where that money can be spent. And I just think the 35% on Race Creek Road, unless they're going to tear another half section up and do something, I don't know why it's only 35%, but they're just two that I know of. And they're an interest, like all other roads, I travel on them. They're good. So I'd just like to know, and if that money, if they're completed and that money is left there, wish to see the money spent where it was allocated.
Thank you. I will confirm.
Councillor Stadmiller.
Just quickly, Madam Mayor, I don't want to bog the meeting down any further. The $63,000 allocated for hardened footpaths, where would that be? I've been approached by a couple of people who would like to see some footpaths in the eastern side of Harden in the Red Bank Street area. If that hasn't found a home yet and it's just down there as hardened footpaths, if the director has an answer for that or not, or can take it on notice at a minimum.
Thank you. My understanding is that we do not yet have areas identified for that work. However, I can confirm.
Thank you. And Councillor
Yeah, just one last thing. I noticed the Kingsvale Road work's completing the final cost outstanding. Let me say that the work done on that road, and I think it's a couple of 100 metres, is excellent. Really looks good. But in some of the new work which has been completed in the past 12 months, there is already a significant pothole in the new. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Flannery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple of questions. The Harden Regional Road Block Grant, we have details of where that is to be expended. I'll probably have a list of questions. Details of where the Harden Regional Road Block Grants to be expended. We just had a good report on the street lights, but I noticed a line item saying that street lights in Young are to be replaced at a budget of 30,000, and it's to come from revenue. Nothing occurred yet. We've got $50,000 sitting in kitty. I'm not too sure why that street lighting, that line item's there if we've still got $50,000 in kitty. Perhaps we need to have a look at that. Scenic Road, we had our money allocated to that, and we're going back last year, and often is the case we get told where the money's going but not the specifics. So could we get details of where the money is to be expended on Scenic Road, please? And I did note that there's been resheeting on Scenic Road north of Crams Lane, which I thought that's interesting because I was aware that there were funds to be expended on Scenic Road, but I thought it was for capital works. Where's the resheeting instead of tar overlay, which I think would be R&M, wouldn't it? Would be not capital works. Is that correct?
Depends on the quantum. It's dollar value for all categories of roadworks. Breaches, it's either 10,000 or 5,000. I don't know, but breaches, the amount of work we do, we capitalise it.
Well, I don't use the northernmost part of Scenic Road, but I know when we went on a field day there last year, there were potholes that I would say were 15 centimetres deep, and I thought, this must be where council has their money in Mark Ball, where it turns to gravel getting out in the Shays Road. I thought it's nearly untrafficable, and I thought it's a wonder I haven't had more complaints about this. But if we could get, and then as I say, noting this report is to the 31st of March, we're now into April, hoping that money wasn't used on where the asphalt resheeting is, because we resheeted from the abattoir down to Patterson's Road about 4 years ago, and most of that overlay is now gone. I commented at the time it was a waste of money because we didn't do the verges, and sure enough, it's all gone. But we can get details of what's to be done on Scenic Road if it hasn't already happened. William Street in Young has had a resheet, and that's just come out of the town road budget. And I drove on it, thought it was pretty good, so I didn't know whether that was just where it was deemed best to go, or if there was something that was amiss with it that I didn't detect. You get details of William Street resheet, please. Houstonia Road, there's money to be spent there. We get details of the, a bit like Councillor Ingram's information on Bivaringa Road, but I would have thought most of the work required on Houstonia Road was actually covered in the work that's to be done. And I do remember the former director saying it had to be done quickly and immediately because the allocations would expire otherwise. We get a report on Houstonia Road and whether there's any further work required there, and if not, any funds be voted elsewhere. Similarly for Boyo Road, although I think significantly more work needs to occur there, please. Moppity Road and Kalangan Road had works done on them. Get one, but I think it could be as long ago as July, but maybe October. Maybe I'm getting Alzheimer's, but none of them have had the line marking done. Is there a time frame that we usually get line marking done? Particularly getting to the stage now with changing daylight saving and shorter daylight hours. There's a lot of traffic coming back from Canberra and to and fro now when it's dark and there's no lights on those roads, and more truck movements along them. Surely there's a time frame that we do line marking on some of these roads. We get details of when the line marking likely to occur on those. I do also note while I'm at it that where the intersection is done from Cunningar Road to Galong Road, the lines have been moved over, and if you've got vehicles coming the opposite way and or if it's raining, you literally can't tell which is the blacked out shiny marks or which is. Can we scrub the old marks completely? Is there some RMS standard?
I'll ask the manager of project from contract.
Can I just ask a question as far as line marking? I know in certain areas there's an enormous weight for line marking. Is that the same here?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, we use a company from Canberra that does all our line marking. They have been booked in to come in to do it. I don't have the timeline at this stage, but Moppity is definitely on the list to be done. There's other roads. I think Mobile is another one that needs to be done, double roads. So there's big work that they need to come into. They have been delayed on other works, so that's why they're running behind schedule in the line marking.
Thank you. As well, to the extent that we've jumped straight to the line marking, I don't even think there's any of those little tacks that could be in the middle of Moppity Road, but it's literally at the stage of dangerous. And I would have thought we had a duty of care to make sure that people can see the actual line edge.
I'll get the guys to do the stick and stomps. It's those little tags that you're talking about. That at least that gives them guidance to make sure.
For you, Madam Mayor, firstly, HARDEN block grant is for Geelong Road. The works are there at the moment, but commenced some, and they'll be continuing that for the next couple of weeks to get that cost spent. Young Street lighting is just a line item that's in the budget every year. We have been using the other funding available for that one, which is why we haven't touched that one. use the grant funding first. North Estonia Road, Scenic Road, Boyer Road, Racebeck Road, Coringa Road. That grant has been extended to October 2027. It was originally February 2024, so we were rushing it. Then we got the extension, so we prioritized work where the grant funding was due first. So that's why these projects haven't progressed that far lately. Yeah, there's a few years with it. With Cunningham and Galong intersection, we'll look into removing the old lines. We'll investigate that. I think that was an answer to the question.
Well, details back on Scenic Road.
Yep.
Or do you have that at hand now?
I don't have that on hand. We can bring all that back, but we do have an extension on that grant funding.
Okay, thank you.
William Street, we'll have to bring back to you as well. I don't know if I have that one on hand.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Dodd.
Are we waiting for the grant before we?
That was the original plan. At the stage of that, we haven't quite done a final review on it, and when we do that, we'll have to do it. Otherwise, we'll have to identify fund ourselves.
My other question was, can we just get a report on Hilltops Road?
Yeah, I'll probably bring that back to you. Yes.
All right, if everybody's questions are answered, I'll put it. All those in favour? Councillor Stedmiller. Yes, please. Okay. Thank you. We'll now turn to we're turning to 155. Thank you very much. The works report. Here we go. I had it. All right. And the recommendation is there to receive and note the information provided on works completed and works planned. Do I have a mover? Thanks, Councillor Foreman. And the seconder, Councillor Hewson. Councillor Foreman, do you want to make a comment? Ask a question?
I've just asked a question. The Murrumbullrah Creek receding, has that commenced or? I was going to say receding. Sorry. Just wondering where that's at.
So only so far, planting is the only vegetation activity that's happened so far. Reseeding will happen.
So that takes yeah, okay. And the speed indicator, I've just been told this afternoon, the speed indicator camera on Ryan Street in Galong is not working. Apparently it's turned around the wrong way and it's not working. That makes any sense.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm aware of the existence of that device. So
yeah. Apparently one's been repaired and the other one is not, and is working perfectly. And the this particular one on Ryan Street to the northern end of the village is not. And it's And just one other thing, I was in BOOROWA last Thursday afternoon, and I've been driving around Young as I do, and everything looks absolutely really good. Everything's mowed, clean, green. BOOROWA looks stunning the other Thursday afternoon. So the effort and time that's been put in by the crew, I'd just like to congratulate because it's excellent.
Thank you. Can I just add to that? Coming in here this afternoon, when you come over the little bridge here on the left-hand side, everything was the best I've seen it for a long time, almost.
Yeah, and I concur with that. It's just a shame that we have to employ private contractors to do it. We used to be able to do it with our staff once. But, gentleman who's employed does a fantastic job. In fact, Rick Road is another example of what can be done when you put some effort in.
Okay, if there are
Right,
councillor Flannery.
I think, not about all councillors, but certainly staff and some council have been made aware of Camelfields Road. It is getting to the point, and I realise to fix up these roads, you've got to either prefer other works, or it is getting to the point of undrivable at anything over about 20 to 30 kilometres an hour. We grade this road every year. It needs some major draining. It does get the grades, but the next rain, it just doesn't cope. It hasn't had any. It's certainly had at least one, if not two grades every year. I don't remember the last time I had any gravel on it. There's a very good pit down the road, being Dwyer's pit, but it needs, certainly for the next budget, needs some potholes fixing. If we have any budget capacity with graders to just go and rip it up and change, but it needs some drainage work and some resealing work, please. That could be looked into. I do note that RMS seems to spend, I think, 90,000 a year on fire control. It's a designated fire reduction road, or I think it's the correct word. God only knows how that happened. It's 90. In the BOOROWA Shire, there's something like 120,000 allocated for gravel resealing. We've got one road that gets an annual budget of about $90,000. The slashing it 3 times a year is a fire break.
That's a decision of the
Wouldn't really get a fire truck along in it at the moment, but it's just so out of whack. Moppity Road, there's a number of issues between the piggery and there's an area there on the rise just past the piggery that's deteriorating and needs attention. The approach, the northern approach, which is a young approach to McLean's and the McLean's Bridge. There's a pothole on the edge of the bridge that's been there for about three years. Every car coming from the north travelling south, you have to think about it because it actually looks like travelling west to east. But it goes to the middle of the road. Pothole doesn't get fixed soon. There's going to be an accident. I don't know how there hasn't been one yet. It's laid there if you're a couple of 100 metres away. So who's going to get there first? And then signs from the southern side heading north, so from Cunningar Road heading north, has been lying on the ground and now from the bridge for about 2 years. Maybe look at please. Neil Street in Harden has had some trimming and whatnot, but doesn't look like it's been watered. Garden beds there. Following my last observations of it, I don't think the water system's been on for probably a month, and it's certainly showing the signs of it. The trees are showing at the ends of the beds. The plants look very healthy. Adjacent to the trees, they look like they're water trees. I do note on the report, the scenic road, albeit it says maintenance grading, saying it's complete. I'm assuming when another report comes back, we'll get details of what work has or hasn't occurred there. Another thing, description.
Okay. I think if there are no more questions, I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? To
Councillor Armstrong, you have a question?
no.
Oh, you was voting. Sorry.
I was voting, Mr. General Manager.
I'm sorry, I just saw your hands go up. Thank you.
That's all right. It's the cloud.
Okay, let's go to correspondence for information. That's 12:20. Thank you, Councillor Ingram and Councillor Foreman. All right. No questions? Those in favour? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Next one, 20 report requiring action, and that's 421 GALONG limestone mine, BPO steering meeting minutes. 29 Davis meeting. Thank you, Councillor Flannery and Councillor Foreman. Do we have any questions, queries? If not, I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Next one we have 1222. Committee reports requiring no action. Thank you, Councillor Ingram and Councillor Foreman again. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. And the last on 1223 on page 190, we have the action summary report. Thank you, Councillor Ingram. Councillor Fitzgerald. Okay, any questions? If not,
Hydrotherapy pool. Have any?
To you, Madam Mayor, we're getting a detailed costing on the repairs required, and we're going to fall back together. We'll be able to progress that action.
Is that report likely to come before this term of council, or what are our expectations?
I'll refer to the Director of Corporate Community timeline for the board. Not at this point, we don't have a timeline that gets to follow up.
Sorry, I believe that needs to be followed up for a number of reasons. It seems to be taking a long time. Come back with any sort of report that gives any indication of what money might be needed. There's a lot of concern in the community and the people who use it, so probably maybe prioritise it with whoever we're dealing with to fit those costings. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question about the Constitution. Yes, Councillor Donovan. Do we have to do anything else about this?
My understanding through you, Madam Mayor, no, there was a resolution of council that we put to the community to vote on whether it reduce from 11 to 9, and that needs to we've advised the election authority, and we need to progress that. Councillor Armstrong, that was your motion. You might like to add.
No, I'm happy to leave it there. But the expectation is it'll be done. I wanted to talk about the 15.423/284 BOOROWA Lawn Cemetery Reservation policy. I'm just wondering, that was a resolution back in the 10th month last year. When will we see a new draft policy or a revised policy?
This year we haven't prioritised it per se, but we are scheduling to do it this year. So this year, we currently don't have a staff member in that section to progress the policy, so we are relying upon the community to do it this year.
You're not suggesting we need to employ someone to write a policy, are you?
No, it's just been a prioritisation. We have not progressed it at this point, and we're still undertaking to do it this calendar year.
I'd stress the importance of this to the Boorowa community, and it's something that we need to do sooner rather than later. So give it a bit like a new cemetery at Young. If we don't jump on it, then I can guarantee the community is going to jump on the council in such a way that council's never seen it before.
Duly noted, Councillor. We'll progress the matter. Thank you.
Okay. There are no more comments, questions. I'll put it to the floor. Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, everybody. There are no questions with notice. There's questions with notice. There's no notice of motion, and that moves us to confidential matters. Thank you, Councillor Ingram and Councillor Flannery. I would like to move that we have a 10-minute break before we go into confidential. There's quite a bit to talk about. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Dodd. Those in favour? 2, 3, 4, 5. Those against? Okay.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, there was the motion put to go into confidential.
Oh, pardon me. We had a move and a seconder.
Yes,
I thought we moved it.
We haven't.
Okay, either go back. Yes,
Yep, and we
yes.
seconded by Councillor Flannery. We've voted upon Councillor.
We need to vote on. Those in favour?
No.
Okay, unanimous.
It was 5 against 6 for. It was Councillor Ingram for Flannery, Houston, Armstrong, and Stadmiller voted against. The other councillors voted for. So we are on a 10-minute break.
10-minute break. Thank you, everybody. Councillor, I presume you're unanimous for move out of close.
Through you, Madam Mayor, in confidential, the council resolved the following reports. At 15.2-2497, review of electricity supply contracts and energy efficiencies. Council resolved that A, receive and note the report on electricity supply contracts and energy efficiency. B, delegate authority to the general manager to execute all necessary documentation associated with the awarding of energy supply contracts if cost savings and greater efficiencies are identified. And C, a report to be provided to council regarding any change of contract relating to energy supply or efficiency. Report 15.3-24/98, Young Stormwater Retention Basins Project. Council resolved that receive and note the report. B, the withdrawal from the funding from the Young Stormwater Retention Basin projects for Basin 1, 2, and Basin 6. C, reapply for funding for the land acquisition for Stormwater Retention Basin 6. D, monitor the development application for the area for Stormwater Retention Basin 1, Basin 2. E, reapply for funding for Stormwater Retention Basin 1 and 2 if the development does not proceed. Report 15.4, 24/99, awarded contract RFT 000021, Stormwater and Upgrade, HARDEN. Council resolved that A, receiving note of report on RFT 000021, Stormwater and Upgrade, HARDEN and Young. B, decline all tenders and enter negotiations with the tenderer to revise the scope of works to align with available budget for the completion of the Thornhill Road works. See, okay, going to the general manager to it's 15.5, awarded contract RF2 24, construction of the Paper Station RFS station. Council resolved that to receive a note of report on RF2 24, construction of the Paper Station RFS station. B, award the contract to the successful tenderer. And C, delegate authority to the general manager to execute all necessary documentation associated with its contract and funds as required within budgets. 15.6, dash 24/101 award of content data T25 for asbestos and mains replacement. Council resolved that it received a note report on RFT 25. B, entered negotiations with the successful tender to reduce the scope of works to align with current budget. B, delegate authority to the tender manager to execute necessary documentation associated with the tender. 15.7-24-102 RFT 26, supply and disposal of one class 15 motor grader. Council resolved that note and endorse the purchase of one motor grader and the trade value of one motor grader, accept the tender of the successful tender of supply and delivery of the grader. C, accept the tender for trade of the council asset. D, delegate to the general manager the authority to execute all necessary documentation. To execute all necessary documentation accepting tender. Report 15.9-24/104 RFQ 37, supply and disposal of street sweeper truck. Council resolved to defer the report. Start with that further report. Report 1510-24/105 RFQ 27, supply and disposal of truck. Council resolved to defer the report. So staff in the third report. Report 1511-24-106 General Manager Performance Agreement 2024/2025. It was resolved that it endorsed the attached General Manager Performance Agreement for 2024/25. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. That concludes our meeting.
Oh, go out of confidence. We're already out of confidence.
We're out of confidence.
We're out of confidence.
We're out.
No, I just finished.
That concludes our meeting for the 24th of April. Thank you, councillors, for your time and also for your work with the Hilltops. And we conclude the meeting at 8:37 p.m. Thank you.
Good night, all.
Thanks, Greg.
Good
Look
night,
after
Greg.
yourself, mate.